name is Leroy Ortega, Senior. Born and raised here in Lansing, Michigan, since 1965. So yeah, I'm 60 years old. So I'm a coach and pretty much for a lot of things. So.
Right. Let's talk about you're born and raised Lansing, Michigan, correct?
Right.
Right. So for everybody that's watching, we want to get to know who you are and where your journey becoming a coach. But so you said you were born in Lansing, Michigan. Your parents are from America as well?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. New Mexico. You said your dad was from.
Yeah, my dad's from New Mexico. My mom, if I remember correctly, she's from San Antonio. Yeah.
Nice. So when they came here, that was the first place they went to was Northside Lansing. All right. Nice. So
gotta represent. So.
Let us know. How was it growing up for you in Michigan, Lansing, Michigan? How was it, for you?
Well, I remember it was pretty tough. We didn't, we weren't brought up in money and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But after I'm Haiti, it's all good. But
and that was you said the 70s, 80s?
Yeah, I think, yeah, around 60s, 65, somewhere around there.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, but we grew up, not made out of money kind of thing. But we survived. My mom and dad. I have 4 brothers, 4 older brothers, 2 sisters. So there's 8 of us all together, and my mom and dad mixed in, of course. But yeah, we grew up going out to the fields, and
also you had to work the fields.
We worked the fields.
Oh shit!
Yeah, worked it all the way till I was 21.
If you don't mind me asking, what were you working on out there?
Onions, tomatoes, apples,
gotcha.
peppers, stuff like that.
That's exactly what my grandma and grandpa did too. They came, and that's like the same thing with my dad. Yeah. They followed through that. Didn't really worry about school much.
No. My dad had gotten surgery on his lungs, so I remember that, and then we stayed prety much working the fields a lot
to provide help. Yeah, gotcha. And I don't, not to cut off for the story, but I gotta introduce. I got Mossy here too. This is Leroy's grandson.
That's my sidekick.
Yep. So I will have him talk about some stories. Just want to let everybody know and introduce who he is. So, Mossy, what do you go by, Mossy?
What do you want? My nickname's Mossy. My real name's Ruben Martinez. Yeah, I'm always with my grandfather. I grew up with him a lot. Mm-hmm. He's like a father figure to me. Yeah.
I remember everywhere Leroy was, you were there. We're wrestling, you're inside wrestling with them on the mat. Yeah. Didn't matter where, So yeah, anywhere you are, I remember you were with Leroy. So you were working the farms. Did you ever? Now, who in your family were like fighting? Because like obviously, like what introduced you to fighting in the early stage of? Because your whole family are fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, let's get into that.
Yeah. Well, my dad. We started doing a lot of watching a lot of TV. Disney movies, kung fu movies, stuff like that. And my dad always said, "Hey, let's watch TV. Let's watch it together." And we watch it and stuff like that. He would leave the room, and we would be stuck there watching the movies. And like everybody else would be like, "Yeah, Then me and my brothers, we go outside and start messing around and doing all that. My dad started showing a little bit of stuff to us, and then
Also, your dad fought?
No, my dad didn't fight, but he knew some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he did that, and then whatever he knew, he showed us, and then from there, just he started. Okay, you know what? Later on, as we became teenagers, he went ahead and started putting us into martial arts, stuff like that.
What's the age? What was the age you started fighting?
9 years old.
9 years old? Yeah. No way. You started boxing?
Oh, when I started fighting and stuff, I started learning when I was 9. Okay. So then I started fighting pretty much when I was pretty much like almost 15, 16 years old.
Gotcha.
So just not against big grown-ups or felt like that, but You know, we were still fighting as teenagers.
Were you doing tournaments?
Well, back in the day, you know, it was like the UFC, should I say, but not, you know, like when it first started.
Yeah.
You know, we would go to uh, to those people's dojo, should I say, you know, their places, their buildings, and stuff like that, and call out the best guys.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
back in the day, didn't they call it like not bare knuckle fighting, but it was basically like that, right? Like
Yeah, pretty much.
tough man kind of something. I can't remember.
It was before the tough man contest
Tough
and
man
stuff
contest.
like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you go out there and uh, you just fight whoever, you know, they come on and say, hey, this guy wants to fight so and so, you know, and to be like, okay, let me fight your best guy, and that's how it went.
Damn.
You know, so yeah, it was just
So mixed martial arts, where's like that was like your love for fighting?
Oh, yeah.
Martial arts.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love it. You know, as you see, I love it up to now.
Right, right.
You know, that's pretty much my whole life is built on the way I grew up with martial arts.
Mm.
So
How did that happen? Like how did that conflict with your life growing up as a kid? I know you damn well got some stories talking about fights and people you got scuffles with and stuff, but
yeah, I mean, I grew up, of course, you know, knowing all the stuff, like growing up and stuff like that, and of course, I was not a perfect kid. You know what I mean? You know, I am yet to meet the perfect kid that comes around. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was pretty much a badass, trying to always, well, you know what? I know this and that, so let's fight. You know, and I would get into a fight just because I knew it. You know,
yeah,
but it was like the discipline part came when I went and fought this one guy and went to his place. I went over there and I didn't get submitted or anything else like that, but I got my ass beat. I literally got my ass beat.
What skill? Like, what did he have underneath the belt?
Oh, we were both doing we were both doing point karate at the time.
Gotcha.
And those kicks were coming out of me.
Oh man,
yeah,
and karate.
Yeah,
it's like that.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I just got hit so hard and everything else, and he put me in check pretty much.
See, I noticed that. Like, I when I hear these stories, especially like the 60s and 70s, I don't know if the 80s, but like karate was super big because my dad took karate.
Yeah.
And like some of my uncle did karate, and I'm like, damn, karate was huge. Now people don't do karate; they're just more into like jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts, boxing. But karate is like a different art. That's an art, right? Like,
right. Yeah. I mean, they still do karate and stuff like that, and some people are really good at it. Mm-hmm. You know, really good at point karate and stuff like that. You got Coach Harris, this unbelievable guy.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, he's older than me and like me, dude. It's like, and his kids are pretty much the same way.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach.
Yeah.
We got to get him on the show. Maybe I can convince him to get on the show and talk about his journey.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Shout him out though.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the thing is, you know, you growing up, you get into that. Did it ever get you to a point where, like, okay, now you're finding yourself getting in trouble? Because, like, you being a coach now, something I've learned with you that you've always talked about is making sure, like, you hold yourself accountable. Don't go out there getting in trouble. You're here to do this to help you. Because, like, I think when I first met you and I got into fighting, I was everywhere. I wasn't like crazy where I wanted to go look for fights, but I was just everywhere. And you really, like, honed me down where I could just focus on me, focus on training, and then my life just kind of basically aligned itself in a way. Did that happen to you at the early age, or did you have to go through a lot of hardship to get to that point? And
yeah, well, when I remember I was 15 years old and we were in Texas. We were living in I believe it was Friona, or it was one of those. But we were getting a lot of trouble, getting into fights, you know, constantly. So my dad said, hey, I'm moving back over here. So we did, which was a good thing, you know, because if I still would have been over there, I would have been probably be in prison or something like that. You know what I mean? So I thank my mom and dad for making that hard decision and come over here. And being over here, um, it you know it put me to the part of I need to watch what I'm doing, or else
Yeah, like a humble.
or else I'm gonna go somewhere else. I don't want to be there. You know, and I don't do jail. You know, I don't want. No, I don't care what anybody says. What do you call it? I've never been to jail like that, and I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to find out. You know, that kind of thing.
You know, I'm big on that. I think for my show, I always try to promote like going to jail isn't cool, and that's how I want it to be. Like I don't get where this stigma came from, where like you go to prison, you go to jail, that's cool.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing cool about it. It's really, you know, you're just in there with a bunch of guys. If you're stuck there for a year, you're screwed. You're not gonna make any money. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you do it? Stay out of trouble. If you want to fuck somebody up, just don't do it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, trying to make it civil.
It's you know, I understand it's hard to walk away sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't like easy, like I did this transformation right away kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't easy. I still got into fights when I came over here. But I tried not to, but yet for some reason trouble will find me, or I just go right back to being Leroy. You know? So
yeah. What's your professional record?
a professional record, well, I turned 50, I was 54 years old when they asked me to turn professional.
Gotcha.
So then I fought professionals and I won that one. And then I went ahead and fought another one and I lost that one. So right now I'm 1-0. 1-1, I'm sorry.
And then did you do amateur fighting?
Yeah, I did amateur fighting. Yeah.
Amateur record on that?
My record for my amateur fighting is 18-3.
18-3.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, believe me, I lost my first 3 and I was ready to quit because I thought I wasn't going anywhere with it.
You know, let's get into that because I know I'm gonna be flip-flopping back and forth, and I definitely want to talk about like your childhood growing up and stuff. But you know, how many fighters you run into? They lose a fight, and then they get discouraged. You know, that development of not being discouraged and giving up. What did you do?
I talked to a lot of people. You know what I mean? I talked to a lot of people and see what they got to say. And, you know, some people, my dad used to be like, well, what'd you do all this for? You know, what you doing all this or you're going to stop? That don't make no sense. You always seem to always tell my grandkids, always finish what you start, you know, and just keep going forward, you know. And I remember that my dad's telling me these things and I'm like, okay. You know, and then my brothers, you know, we're all knuckleheads and everything else, but there's some encouraging words came from them as well.
Yeah.
You know, and just being around people who do martial arts, they just talking, you know what I mean? Just talking and all that. And it's like, okay, you know, that just
got you
kept me going.
That made you feel like,
yeah,
like, because I'm telling you, I've seen it, man. I've seen some people, even you look at the professional UFC fighters, they might lose a big fight and they almost stop fighting. And you're like, what? I want to see more of this fighter. Like, there's so many younger fighters, you know, that you're like, damn it, just keep on going.
Yeah.
You're going to lose, but you got to get back up. And I think, okay, so the stigma of that would be like with Floyd Mayweather. When he came in, you can't lose. I only win, you know, and all that kind of stuff. I feel like the best fighters are the fighters that do lose, but they find their way of fixing the mistakes and then going right back to the table and showing what they can do, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that should be more of an encouragement right there. I messed up. Let's fix it. Let's look at what I did wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put it to work.
Well, when you end up losing like 3 in a row, or actually just 1 to begin with, because growing up, I always said, you know what, I'm a badass. You know what I mean? I can do this. I can do that. Ain't nobody going to stop me, blah, blah, blah. And then when you lose, just that one loss, it was like, am I any good for real? Then I lost again. You know? Then I lost again. You know, and that made me think a lot like, man, am I really any good at all? You know? And I had to push myself to, you know, listen to people and stuff like that, you know, because I didn't want to give up martial arts, you know? You know, as you can see right now, I mean, I love martial arts.
Yeah.
I love fighting. You know, I don't care if I win or lose. I still love fighting. You know, and it's part of my life. You know, and I do a lot of the discipline because yes, my parents are a big influence as well, and my cousins and stuff like that. But martial arts helped me out a lot. I put it in all my sports, no matter what I do, and it's a big thing for me when I go to work. That helps me out because I don't quit. And I don't like um, I don't like letting people down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I let people down, that means I sort of gave up on it, and so I start all over again and say, okay, you know what? Take a deep breath. You can do this. You got to remember what you tell people. You encourage them, encourage yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm
Accountability.
saying? Yeah.
Accountability, and then that old saying, "Be a man of your word."
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like simple, but it's powerful.
Right. Yeah.
And I sometimes when I see people that don't do it, I'm like, you're killing me, man. You're killing me with this.
My grandson will tell you, when he goes out to go play or whatever, I tell him all the time, you go practice, do this, don't worry about it. Do your best. Don't give up. You know what I mean? No matter what. Don't get mad, get better.
Yep.
That kind of stuff. So I talk to him. I try to help. I don't see all my grandkids all the time, but when I do, I share a little something with them.
Yeah.
So that way they know, hey, Grandpa's still here. I'm always gonna be here no matter what, even if I don't see you all the time.
So let's go back to when you were young. So now you're probably you were talking about you were fighting probably what 11, 12 years old. You're talking about where y'all get together. Is that around the age you think or no?
No, we're
Or y'all
yeah
older?
around there pretty much. Yeah, we were just well, what we did pretty much how we all started fighting was. I'm gonna tell this story. I might get in trouble or whatever, but I'm gonna tell this story.
Yeah.
All right. So, back in the day, we lived, was it right there on Olds Avenue? Okay, right there by MLK.
Yeah.
And I remember my parents, not my mom, but my dad and my uncles. They used to put us in the garage. It's not child abuse, okay? All right. They used to put us in the garage, right?
Uh-huh.
And they would give us gloves, and be like, hey, you know what? You get to go fight your brother. Go do this, go do that. And we would fight in the garage against each other. And man, it was crazy. It was just crazy. We just go at it. And they'd bring another cousin and we just get it in, just like that.
Yeah.
So we would fight and everything else. And yeah, it was just crazy.
That's it for us growing up. I think that was like wrestling. WWF, WWE.
Right.
We would imitate, jump off the dang roof if we could, try to like land on somebody or something.
Right,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Knowing damn well you're gonna break your arm, break your leg or something. All right, so you get into that subject. Like, when did you realize like, okay, I'm gonna take fighting serious to a point where this is what I want to do? When did you know that was gonna be something?
I was pretty much like 17, 18 years old, and I went to go do Okinawa karate. Okay, there was over there on Turner Street, and I went over there and started going over there and stuff like that, and they asked me if I wanted to do some point karate, and I said, yeah, sure, let's go. And it made me fall more in love with it because I liked it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? At the time, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. And then yeah, I started doing all that stuff from there, and I just fell in love with it.
Didn't you do like weapon fighting?
Yeah, did that too.
How many years of that did you do?
Well, with that, the weapons and stuff like that came from my cousin Judah.
Oh,
Yeah, he's actually my main coach. He's my instructor.
gotcha. Shout out.
So Julian. So Julian. So at the time it was Loretta's Cross Trainers, and yeah, he taught me the weapons, and everything else. That's where I got my black belt from JKD.
Nice.
Okay, so I got my black belt through him, and then yeah, all the weapons and stuff like that. It wasn't easy, but it was nice knowing that. So
Growing up, did you and him would work, like just fight together too, or no?
yeah, I mean, I'm older than him,
Gotcha.
and he older than him by like 5 years, somewhere around that.
5 years.
But yeah, I mean, we another funny story with him was he was doing JKD and I was just doing plain karate. You know what I mean?
What's the difference, if you don't mind me asking?
Jeet Kune Do shows you all martial arts put together. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you do, Thai boxing, grappling, Kali, weapons, everything pretty much.
So damn weapons too?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's all together pretty much. And I was doing just plain karate and stuff. And he would come over because he was doing that, JKD. And he came over the house one time and he goes, "Hey, let's spar." And I looked at my dad and I go, "I'll be right back." So we sparred. It went from there. It was pretty much even. He left. Comes back maybe 2 months later. Says, "Hey, let's spar." I was watching TV. Not good. My dad. Is he kidding? Whatever. Let's go to the back. All right, let's go to the back. Go to the back. We start. He said, "You ready?" Let's go. He said, he comes in, and that's all I remember because I landed right on my ass.
Oh,
boom!
damn.
I was like, "Whoa!" And he got me in these locks and everything else, and he goes, "Are you ready?" And I was like, "Okay, now let's go." So I went to throw a punch, boom, 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 boom. I was like, "What the hell?" Put me on the floor again, got me in the lock. I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Oh man!" I went through that for like maybe 15 minutes of pain.
Dang. So basically, he was going back home, learning, studying, coming back,
came back, and just beat the living hell out of him.
That's too funny.
Yeah. After that, I joined him.
Then he started.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
So
we've been doing it ever since.
When did you become a coach?
I started coaching people and stuff like that. 30 years ago and stuff like that, but it was like, shit.
There you go.
It was just, I did 30 years ago. How old am I now? 60? So, I think I had 29. Yeah, the guy with the one number on Social Security. Jose.
Oh, God.
It's all good. It's all fun. But yeah, I've been coaching ever since because with my cousin Julian, he pretty much said, "Hey, you help me coach and everything else." And I was like, "Ooh," and I was down with that. So started doing that.
Okay, can you remember like your very first clients?
No, it was pretty much, I remember some of the guys that used to go there and they'll see me too and stuff like that. And you're like, "Hey, coach, you remember me?" And I look at them like, "No, not really." And then it's like, "Oh, wait a minute. Remember I'm so-and-so or whatever." Actually, one of my friends, one of my daughter's friends, I think it's his dad, I think. I taught him also, but I didn't recognize him when I seen him. He came out of the house and said, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "How you doing?"
Yeah.
He told me who he was. I was like, "Okay, you remember me? I was little and everything." I was like, "Sorry, man." He goes, "Yeah, I remember you used to do the red spots trainers." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay."
Damn. Did you do boxing?
Yeah, I did boxing for a little bit and stuff. Yeah.
So, okay. So when you started doing coaching, was it at that time serious or it was just like, okay,
No, it was, I took coaching very serious.
very serious?
Very serious. So the minute he told me it's a job. At the time it was coaching is a job. And I'm dedicated to teaching people, not only just teaching them, but the discipline of the art. You know what I mean? Because that's one most important thing that people need to learn and listen to is don't just do the art. Respect the art. You know what I mean? A lot of guys say, A lot of guys will go in there, fight and everything else, but do you really know what you're,
Yeah.
do you know what you're respecting? You know what I'm saying?
No,
And what you learn is you got to respect it. You
yeah,
learn
you just
from
want to bulldoze through shit and not
Yeah.
really
it. Just
respect what they're
just
doing.
go out and fight. That's it. And it's like, which is cool. I mean, I'm not down at the what you like,
Right.
but it's very important to know the discipline and what martial arts actually stands for, not just Bruce Lee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that kind of things, But
Did you ever think that in the process of being a coach that you would be like you would have this kind of impact? I mean, you gotta understand, everywhere in Lansing, everybody knows you. Maybe other places too, but you're well known. It's crazy. Like everybody knows who you are. If you're in the fighting, they know Leroy. They know Soldado. So did you ever think it was gonna get to that point?
uh, no, my thing's always been be nice to everybody.
Yeah.
Be nice to everybody. If they don't like you, they don't like you. You know, it doesn't mean you have to be an ass to them or whatever.
Yeah.
It's whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I walk the perfect line. I don't do that. No one does. But I try my best. I'd rather walk away. It's hard for me. Don't get me wrong. It's hard sometimes. I just want to bring back the old Leroy. But I just turn around and
I remember your thing was family's important.
family is very important.
Yeah.
Always. That comes first, no matter what. Yeah. Some of the guys remember they would call and be like, "Hey, coach, I can't make it in. I gotta play." Hey, don't worry about practice. Practice will always be here. Family comes first, no matter what.
Right. Yeah, I learned a lot. Well, in the beginning, because I have PTSD. Yeah, I had anxiety. I went through a lot of crazy stuff as a kid. So when I met you, you didn't have no idea like what I went through. You had no idea like about my past. And I remember going through that process of learning. We have this thing where it's human nature. When something hurts, you want to say I can't, or it's too much, or whatever the case is. And your thing was like, I don't want to hear that. No, I don't want to hear that. Right? Remember when we were flipping tires outside? I can't. You say what? Flip it 2 more times, 5 more times, 10 more times, 100 push-ups. It's just pushing. And what that did for me, which there's a lot of other people that's gonna be able to agree with me on this, is that like we were all in a way lost children, right? We came as young kids. I mean 17, 18, 19, you mean some adults. And some of those adults are fucking lost too, And guidance in fighting was big, man. Like I've been able to look at life in a way where I'm like, okay, there's just some things that don't matter, something that do matter. I hold myself accountable on certain things. I don't need to fight everybody. I know I can fight. I'm strong, but it doesn't mean I can run around and go beat everybody's ass or just because somebody said something mean. Like you really, like you held me accountable for that, And there's a lot of other men, man. Like I've talked to a lot of people and I've only heard good things where they're just like, yeah, we were talking a lot of shit. And you've helped a lot of people, bro. I mean, damn, I'm surprised. I should have made a plaque. I should have made a plaque for you before the show. That would have been dope. I feel like you deserve that. You deserve, that little space. I've always believed in you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So when you got it, so you got into coaching serious. When did you realize, okay, I got some fighters. Like this is what I like. This is where it's gonna go. Because like again, coaching it's a free ball thing. Like you learn people, you figure people out, you figure out, okay, this is how this fighter is gonna be. I'm gonna start getting them out here to fight. I know it's a lot on them because they have to commit, but you started getting fighters, and the learning for you being a coach, you have to learn how to deal with these people.
Yeah.
Did that have how can I put it to you? How did that impact you? But also, if you want to shout out some people, you don't have to shout out everybody, but like just who helped you grow as a coach as well in the coaching industry?
Like students.
Students, yeah, fighters and.
Well, actually, all my students did a big impact on me. All of them. And some more than others, of course. But the thing is, they all have an impact on me. How to have more patience with them, you know,
Yeah,
because a lot of them don't have patience themselves just coming in, you know,
Yes.
and they want to learn now, you know, and you know, to be able to talk to them and say, hey, you got to take your time. You're not gonna learn this overnight. You know, some people learn faster than others. I get that, but when it comes down to it, a lot of my fighters who are very good friends of mine as well. You know, um, they they taught me a lot. You know how to be this way. You know, okay, you know what? Calm down. You ain't got to do all that. You know what I mean? If you want to take it out, let's go. Sometimes I won't tell her nothing, anything else. I'd be like, okay, let's spar. Let's go.
Yeah.
Put stuff on. Let's go. We're going to do some sparring today. You know, because I could see that they're frustrated or whatever. All right, so let's get in it. You know, and me being the kind of coach that I am, you know, a lot of coaches do that. I get it, but I would really like to get in the mix. You know, there's a problem. Okay, let's go. We would get in there, put the gloves on, spar, you know, and I don't try to hurt them, you know, like that. You know, I don't try to show that I'm dominant, that just because I'm a coach. Hey, you know what? I'm not gonna. I let them pretty much take their frustration out on me, but at the same time, I'm gonna take the other back at you. You know what I'm saying? You get what you get.
Right.
You know, and I let them know pretty much, and they showed me a lot. They showed me patience. They showed me um, also how to be mad.
Yeah.
But yet, but yet, be mad. I know it sounds ridiculous, but be mad, but take it out in the cage.
In the cage. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not hurting everybody in the gym because you having a bad day.
Well, let's do some shout outs. I want to get into like some of your students. You know, I remember when I started at that time. That was when on Cedar.
Yeah.
Who owned that at that time?
On Cedar Street,
Don Pancho's place.
it was Cleo. Cleo, he was running that, and I forget the other guy's name.
Yes.
Yeah, because they were doing the boxing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And then you took on the other, the mixed martial arts. Like you'll go back and forth.
Yeah.
They do boxing on one side, and you did mixed martial arts on the other.
Right.
So at that time, we had a pretty big fucking crowd, dude.
We had a lot of people.
Let's shout them out. We had Courtney. We had Ray,
Calvin,
Jack. Shout out to all these guys.
Was it bunch of guys there?
Yeah.
I know Mitch Starl started going there too.
Yep.
Shaw Brothers.
Yep.
So man, yeah, there's a bunch of other people too.
Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy
was there.
Yeah.
Man, we had some good memories, and also I want to get into some stories about that gym. Some like we were out there cleaning that late night.
Oh, yeah.
And we had some like ghost activity.
Oh,
I was ready to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, so was I.
Oh shit. So yeah, but man, I that shaped me so much because like Courtney now, even I haven't been able to work with him. I've been so busy. Summertimes are my busy times, but even till now, like that's where I met Courtney. He's forever a good friend, you know, and that's someone I can count on if I need to do something or if I need help. He's there, you know. And just meeting all these new guys. But again, I learned so much trying to like become a young man. I didn't have a father figure, you know. My dad was trying to figure out his own life. My foster dad died when I was 14. So not to say that you took the dad position, but like you were able to guide me in a way. And I see this in other men too, man. Like they're learning from that, right? So you really made an imprint on that. But man, that was a good time.
Yeah.
Tires and all that shit. Remember outside?
Yeah.
Remember when I first came in working with you, I was still fat now, but I think I was more fatter then. I think I was like a little over 200 pounds, I think. Do you remember what the scale? It was like 200. I think I was 200 some pounds.
Yeah, you were pretty heavy.
I couldn't do nothing.
Right.
I remember I was swinging
a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
A little bit at a time. There was no rush, but it was the part of I take everybody pretty much like, oh man, I know I can make it into a fighter. I know.
Yeah.
Like I had a heavyweight. I still consider him mine. You know, no matter what. Kyle Eagles. Shout out to Kyle. And Logan, I was
Logan too, yeah.
you
Logan.
know. Yeah, and there was the other Logan also.
Yep.
Those guys, man, they were being heavyweights and stuff like that. I mean, they were just I grapple with them, and they were just like,
yeah. I remember we had big guys, man.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Oh, and shout out to Ray. Can't forget Ray.
I can't forget Ray.
Yeah, Ray was in
there. Oh, yeah, Cecilia.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So, cool. Shout out to Cecilia.
So, man, and then so in that gym we were able to experience a lot with going back and forth with the boxing and mixed martial arts. But again, it shaped. I mean, Jimmy was not Jimmy, but who else was there? That was what's his name? Jaguar. That's he called himself Jaguar MMA or come on, brain fart right now. the Mexicano, the little Freddie.
Oh, Freddie.
Freddie was there. Freddie came over. Freddie came.
Yeah.
Was he fresh? He did wrestling his whole life.
Yeah.
He was pretty fresh when he came in, right?
Yeah.
I remember when he started.
Yeah, but he was also practicing a lot with the Shaw brothers. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, he was doing a lot with them. And he started doing martial arts as well. I don't think he took it as serious, but when he did fight,
he went to town.
Yeah. Because he would ask me a couple of times that when he did go out and start fighting again, he'd be like, "Hey, coach, can you help me out?" I'd be like, "Heck yeah, let's go." Yeah. And I go help him out. No problem at all. Boom, I got you.
It's funny because I remember coming in and I would see Masi. You would have Masi with you, and y'all do a little wrestling, like teach us some techniques. Mm-hmm. Dude, I'm telling you, man, you're gonna be a beast, bro. If you ever get in the ring. Yeah, you've been working with Grandpa for, man. How old are you now?
I'm 16 years old.
16 years. Yeah. You still train, right?
Not so much no more.
But last time I seen the video, you were going up the mountain.
Oh yeah.
Going down the mountain.
See, the thing about that is, I try to train everybody. I don't care how old they are. I mean, I do, but for some, okay. I'm not gonna put this to your kids out. Yeah. But, actually, if you give me a chance, I'm just kidding. No, but he needed a workout, and I said, okay. He goes, I want to work out really good, and I said, all right. I'm going to train you the way I do everybody else. Right. And I had him go up the hill, and this is in the winter, so we're doing all that. Doing everything. Some of these guys know what I'm talking about. When we go to the hill, we go to the hill. We better go work out. We don't go there to have a good time talking. Okay?
Yeah, and remind you, he does work out in the wintertime.
Yeah.
One of my hardest times.
Yeah. I even work out right in front of my house across the street because there's no houses there. So I work out there in the winter, and the whole world is my backyard.
Yeah.
It's my gym. So wherever I can do it, I do it.
Yeah. So, you didn't get married. We don't get to get all in detail, but when did you get married?
Oh, you put me in there.
Oh man.
Okay. 36 years ago.
Okay, 36 years ago. So how did your wife take it when you got it?
You know what? Talk about big influence.
Yeah.
My wife. I love my wife to death. She is.
Oh, you're good. Biggest supporter?
The biggest. She's
Oh, you good, bro?
Sorry.
Keeping it real.
I love my wife. And every marriage there's fighting and you wake up and all that. But my wife is she's like, well, you know what? I don't think you should. And then again, it's like, I think you could.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
She's rooting for you.
Yeah.
But she's also want to protect you by saying like, no.
Right.
But she's like,
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I love my wife. She's my biggest supporter ever.
Yeah.
We talk about it. Sorry.
No, you're good, bro. You're good.
That there's no words for that. there, and no matter what.
Did it at one point when you really start taking it serious with just? 'Cause I know you do. So you're a coach. Your hours are crazy. I mean, you do so many hours helping these guys, and it takes up time with her not being able to see you. Did that at one point mess with you? Now again, we don't got it in detail, but like it's gotta come with some issues, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's because I will get carried away always training.
Yeah, 11, 12.
Yeah. You already know.
Hell yeah.
I mean, we would train.
Yeah.
You know, because I wanted to make sure. And yeah, you know, everybody wants the best fighters. Everybody does. You know, when some guys have the best fighters, and that's great, good for you. You know, but to me, I would spend too much time because I love martial arts so much. You know what I'm saying? And that never changes even up to now. But it came to a point that hey, you know what? You need to
slow down a little
slow
bit.
down. You know what I'm saying? You know, it wasn't I'm gonna get a divorce or whatever,
No,
but
yeah.
it was more like slow down.
Right.
Okay, now it's time. Now I'm the man of the house. She puts her foot down. After that, you know, I'm wearing slippers.
Oh my god! Now she's been a sweetheart since I've known you, man. You know, I've never I can't say nothing bad about her. She's always been a good person. She's always there to support you. There's times where she's like, no, I don't like that, but you're gonna do whatever you do anyways.
Yeah, you know, because I would train every day.
Yeah,
every day. If it's up to me, I train every day. You know, and then she came up to the point. She's like, "You want to work out Monday through Friday? That's fine.
Yeah.
You want to work out on Saturday, maybe early in the morning, but Sundays you ain't working out.
It's family time.
Yeah, it's family time.
So let's for the young men that are learning this now, right? Is there any like type of maybe something inspirational, maybe something that you can help guide them? Because a lot of these young guys now, and I fell in this before too. You know, I've been married going 12 years now, and there was a time where I did exactly that. I would train. I came home late. She's probably frustrated. She's like, "We could have done this, we could have done that," but I worked out. I want to do this. This is what I'm into. And then I really didn't recognize giving her attention, like understanding that I had to hold myself accountable as my wife. So I got to give her time, and I gotta, you know, for these young men now that are going through that, like, what can you tell them? You know,
make time for your wife.
Yeah,
make time for your family, no matter what. I always tell everybody family first, and I mean family comes first. The guys will always be at the gym.
Oh yeah.
The coaches will always be at the gym here and there. You know, some coaches will make it, some people don't. They're human just like you. You know, take the time to be around your kids, you know, because they grow fast.
Hell yeah. Masi,
yeah.
I remember when you was just like 4 feet tall, bro, 3 feet and a half.
Yeah.
You're about almost 6 foot now. Well, you're 5'9"?
He's taller than me. I'm
5'8",
6.5, something.
Like 5'6", 5'7", something like that.
Yeah. You can't be 5'6". You have to be 5'7".
I'm somewhere there.
Yeah. Because I'm 5'6". There's no way you're 5'6".
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. Leroy's about 4'5".
Yeah. Depends what kind of heels I have on, you know, that day. You know.
On a special day.
Disco heels.
How much insulation you got inside?
A lot.
So okay. So now we're at the point where you've established yourself. People know who you are. You're at the point now where you got some big names. You've worked with a lot of people. Did you ever work with Rashad?
He came to me. He came to me when I was over there with Dan Smith.
Got you.
You know, I was training over there, and he came over there and asked me, you know, doing some footwork, and because he was fighting the Iceman at that time.
Gotcha.
So he came over, and I would tell you this in front of him. Okay, so don't doubt it.
Yeah.
So, but I went ahead and he asked me to help him out.
Right.
Train him for, you know, just a couple of hours here and there. That was it. And it was like maybe just a week, you know. But you know what? But I helped do that. He took video of me doing footwork, and we did a couple of hand mitts and stuff like that. And you know. So it might have been a short-lived part, but I'm proud of that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
the fact that you did is,
yeah, I
got to
mean,
meet some good
it's
people.
not like, oh, wow, man, you did. I worked out with him for a little bit. He's a great person. And down to earth. For that little bit that I talked to him and stuff like that. But when I took Alana to
Lana.
when I took Alana Jones over there to where we went to Florida, Miami. I seen him over there. He said, "Hey, what's up? Hey, I know you were here." It's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Stuff like that. See him at Grand Rapids. Because he goes a lot to Murcielago and stuff like that. And like I say, he's a really good guy and everything. And he just says hi, and I say hi right back. And
I miss Alana. Shout out to Alana. We haven't talked in a long time. I follow her on social media, but she's a good person. Yeah. So now, when it comes to the community, like in Lansing, we have how many groups do we have in Lansing? Because I know, like, we have Murcielago. You've always been around. I know, and this is not just boxing, like just for mixed martial arts.
You got Dan Smith. He's got his. I don't know. Scott Hahn is still doing his. Then you got the regulars, ATA. You got I don't know if Okinawa Karate is still around. Because I know they were on Michigan Avenue, so I don't know if they're still around.
Yeah, I think maybe not. I think you got that used to be on Michigan on the left side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that changed. I think that got turned into something else.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got also a lot of them are like hidden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You think they're gone, but they're not. You know what I mean? You got Capital City Kickboxing. They're right over there on Holmes, and I think it's Mount Pleasant or something. Something like that. No, Mount Pleasant over there.
There's a lot of fighters, and you start realizing too. Lansing there's a lot of fighters here.
Oh yeah,
I feel. I think I talked to Ron about this a while back. I definitely want to start doing more footage with fighters, just because I have, I'm how you say, I don't want to say I have experience, but like since I've dealt with fighting and I've trained with y'all, and I have my heart is to that, and I love like putting people out so they can shine and have them have their story be heard. Like I feel like we don't really have that. I mean, it is coming. There's people that are trying to do it, but we really don't have it to where people could tell their story. This is what they went through. This is why I'm fighting. This is who I'm fighting. That really hasn't came out yet. There's interviews here and there, but like the real story, man, that could be powerful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fighters here in Lansing.
Yeah, there's a lot of them here. The one I wish you could move over here, but I know he lives over there was Robert Gidron.
Yeah,
he's one of my fighters as well, and he's got a journey. You know what I mean?
Yep. Robert. And so they call him the Silverback,
yeah,
right?
the Silverback.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got a journey, and he tries all the time his hardest, and he's a hell of an athlete, man, hell of a fighter.
I'll get him on the show.
Yeah, he's a really good guy, and shout out to Rob, man. Love you.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, he'd be a nice guy to.
I'll get him on. Every time we talk, he has good things to say. What I like about him is he's very responsive when you're working with him.
Oh yeah.
Do this, he does it. You got to work together.
Yeah, no complaints. Like, some guys, man, I'll train them, and they're like, "Oh man, I don't know about that." It's like, dude, you got it. Come on. Not with him. He just said, "Hey, let's get this right here. We'll hit the hill."
Break his toe. He does still working out.
Yeah, break his finger and still keeps going, no matter what.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to see.
But I got a lot of fighters that do that. that they just keep going. Yeah. I the one person that I would train, and Jack.
Mm-hmm. Jack, oh yeah.
Man, I would try to break it. I would try to break him bad, and he just like
kept on going.
Just kept going. Say, all right.
Jack's a good guy. I like you, Jack. I know we have our differences, but I like you, man. I haven't talked to you in probably like 15 years and shit. Every time I would talk to him, I'll get a video chat with him on the toilet, and I'm like, oh man, What's up, bro? You know, got to put it on blast. But anyways, so with that being said, you know, you being in the industry, when did it get to a point where you're like, okay, now that you've been a coach, you're a veteran in this business, and you know that you could take people places. There's ways to find out connections and get people to, like UFC, for instance, like a contract or stuff like that. Like, do you find yourself now more like where you're at now? Did you always have those kind of contracts back then, or did that just start coming within like the 15
No,
years?
no, I didn't have those contracts back then. You know what I mean? So whatever fights were there, we just go ahead and okay, you know what? Is this is there, so let's go there. Ron. We went to Ron first.
How long has Ron been around?
Oh shoot, Ron's been around forever. He was doing the boxing first, and the boxing and the boxing world for him, it was forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I'd like to get
they
him
were
on the
really
show.
good on that. Then he started doing the martial arts, the MMA and stuff, and everything takes out slow, but he just picked up and everything else. So
Yeah.
and we went to PD's after that as well.
Yeah, PD started late though, right? He started. Well,
Yeah,
at
but
least-
he had a big impact.
yeah, he did.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As soon as he got, Ron's been doing it, and Ron still has a big impact as well. But Pete as well, when he started his, it's like everybody, this is something here
Yeah.
as well.
Guys went
Everybody went, yeah.
big.
And, so they both put on really good shows, so it's
Yeah,
it's a good thing. So
nice. So now that you're doing it this long, do you want to shout out some of your newer fighters now you have with you?
yeah, I got, Bertotran, I just first had to close my gym for a little bit. Okay, so I went ahead and right now I'm just using someone else's garage. Okay, so I'm doing that with Jake. Shout out Jake.
Yep. Shout out Jake.
Yeah. So then using his, you got Bo, you got Joe, Javier, Bertotran.
Yep.
Cecilia. Cecilia, by the way, Pan American wrestler.
Yeah.
She is
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah, I've been
She
paying
is
attention.
badass. Hey, watch out, people. She
Oh,
comes to you.
yeah.
You better watch out. She is.
Take over.
Yeah, she is really good. Her boxing is really good.
Actually,
all
I'm
this
following her
stuff.
dad, so I've been able to see all
Yeah.
that from there.
Yeah, her dad is really cool. Her sister, and her brother are really, really, the whole family.
Yeah.
It's just like they're really nice people. Really nice.
So, I don't wanna like go back and forth with a bunch of stuff, but like now, because I know you're under construction, you got some ideas that are coming into play. But when you do have your new gym, after everything that you've been through, doesn't it help you shape kind of like how you want to train fighters now? Like, because you go through all this trial and error, work with different people, but now you're like, I have the recipe. I can really help good fighters. Now that when you open up your new gym, how does that impact you with like just bringing new ideas, bringing new skills? Because I remember, like you know so much already, but like how is that for you right now? I guess what I'm trying to say.
Well, not having a gym right now is a little bit of a challenge. You know what I mean?
But it's in the process.
Yeah, it's in the process. Yeah, it's always in the process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just keeping new things together, learning new things. From day one since I started at 9 years old, looking at all the martial arts and stuff like that, and their gyms and stuff like that. It's like, man, I said, oh,
Yeah.
Now that I'm old, just like, and I still remember some of the way some of those gyms were back then. I would love to have a building, and be able to put all that where I can train this and this and this and this. That would be nice, because the workouts that I give, I don't care what anybody says. You're gonna go do it.
Yeah, you're the
You know, because
conditioner king, hands down.
Yeah, because I try to make sure everybody is ready. You know, conditioning is the key. If you ain't conditioned, you ain't gonna do. You may last a little bit without it, but you ain't gonna last.
Be
You
real.
know what I mean?
When you're conditioning us, you enjoy putting us through pain, don't you?
I enjoy putting people through
Man.
pain. I'm not gonna lie.
Let me tell you.
You know, because I'm 60 years old,
Yeah.
and I always tell you guys all the time, if I can do it, you
That's
can do it.
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
I'm not gonna tell you to do something I've never done myself, or
Yeah.
not do it in front of you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you know
That way
that.
you see it. When I said flip that 360-pound tire, I showed you first. I didn't just say do it. You know?
Your kids fight. They fought, right?
Yeah, the twins did.
Yep, and they do boxing.
Yeah.
Only, right?
Yeah.
When did you get into training? Like, involve your kids into fighting?
Well, I had my own gym, or my own. We did boxing, so I was training only boxing. At Ron's house. So
damn.
yeah, so we were doing that, and so we went out. I trained them. My kids, I believe in safety. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't believe that the kids shouldn't be fighting until they know all the fundamentals and stuff like that. I don't just throw them in there and be like, "Hey, let's go."
But they're hell of a fighter. They're good fighters.
Yeah, they are. So it's like I trained them for 2 years, and then we went fight.
Nice.
Everybody there, the fought for me, Agustin Pena, to give a shout out real quick, Agustin, and his brother Eddie, and you got Victor Limas, you got a whole lot of guys. I even trained Tyrone Harris as well.
Yeah.
Okay, helped him out, here and there. It wasn't like I wasn't like his main coach or not like that, but I could help train him as well. Stuff like that, and I would train them and we would go fight, and they ended up doing really good. They liked it and everything. And it was cool. It was really cool.
Now with your son, Rogelio, right? He's the one that's fighting right now. Ronaldo? My bad.
No. Rogelio's although he doesn't fight.
He doesn't fight. Okay.
No.
So Ronaldo, he's gonna start some matches up soon, right? Or is
actually he's fighting on the 19th of this month. Yeah.
Okay.
So I can't go because I got to work, but
Yeah,
he's gonna do really good. He's gonna do really good.
I see him busy. I was looking at his Facebook, and
He's a big boy.
Oh
Yeah, not only fat.
yeah, he's a big kid.
He's
Yeah,
a big kid.
he's strong.
I
don't get fat. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I did see that picture when you were like 300 pounds.
I was 250.
Holy shit!
Yeah. I was 250.
How did you drop all that weight?
It wasn't easy, but I lost all that. I'm gonna say, I think I lost like 100 pounds, and I lost 100 pounds. I think maybe 9 months or something like that.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because I was at it. I like this. I've always been fit. I always weighed 135 pounds to 140. And that was it. And then when I got hurt, it all caught up to me.
Too much tortillas and frijoles.
2 years. That's my wife's fault. She was feeding me good, so I'm gonna say.
Yeah, because I seen that picture, I'm like, I would have never. I mean, I remember you telling me, but I would have never imagined. I'm like, oh shit, because I'm 200. You said 200 what?
50.
200. Wow. Wow.
I didn't realize how big I actually got. You get so comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was sitting down one time, and then we were watching TV, and my shirt was way up here, and I put the plate right here, and I was eating, and I said, "Oh, Lee," I went like this, and the plate was still there. And I was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot."
I get it. So it took you 9 months to get down. Oh damn, man, that's crazy. Did you do like training?
Yeah, I hit a lot of cardio, and then I started working at this one place. It's called T.O.M.P. So it was a distributing place for GM. So it was doing all the body parts, right? and they're all heavy. You know, big screws, everything like that. They're all heavy. So get it, and I started, doing my own exercise at work.
Yeah.
Working out at work.
Tell me that.
Then I started running again, working out at work, start again. So I did all that.
What's your max on your runs, like before?
Before I just run 8.
8 miles.
8, yeah, at least 8.
That's good. That's good. So I want to get back to Robert. So you've been working with Robert for how many years? I had to be
At least 10 years. I think.
yeah, because I remember So I gotta talk to Robert. I want to get him on the show. Where's he fighting right now? Like, where's he? What was his last fight?
His last fight was in Ohio.
In Ohio.
Yeah.
Man, dude, I gotta get him on because I definitely want to do some promotion with him in his next fight and try to like up it up for the like the footage with him and the fighter.
Yeah.
It's just right now I gotta figure out how to make it work because the last thing I want is to get these fighters, have them talk shit, promote themselves, but then fight each other. You know what I mean? I'm trying to come up with a way to do this.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna have your little cage thing in here.
Yeah, dude. And it definitely wouldn't be in here. It'd probably be in a gym or somewhere, But yeah, when you took on someone like when you get these big, because you get a lot of big guys. It seems like you don't get that many small guys. I mean, you did have me, Ray, and like little guys like Robert. Robert's what 5'6", 5'5".
Shoot, man. I guess like 6'1", I think.
Robert's not 6'1".
I think he's around 6'1".
No, not that Robert. Roberto. I mean Berto.
Oh, Berto.
Berto, yeah, Berto's.
Oh, yeah, Berto. Shoot,
he's like 5,
maybe
5.
Dang, I don't know. Maybe 5'4".
5'4", yeah. Like Ray, same height as Ray. Ray's like what?
Yeah.
4'3", and then Razor would kill me later. No, dude, like you really get some big guys. So like when you get in there training with those guys, how do you like? What did you? Because you have to change. How you say? When training with big guys is not the same. I was training a 6'5" or 6'3", 16-year-old kid. It was difficult. Like just figuring out the length, the timing. With these big guys, how long did it take you to get used to doing all that?
Well, that right there, I'm going to give credit to my cousin Junior.
Gotcha.
Because he no matter what, don't care.
You just work with.
You just work.
Yeah, it's work.
You know what I mean? Because I used to be like, oh, dang, that's a big dude. And I would just be like, all right, yeah, okay, but we ain't going too hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And then my cousin's like, no, what you got to do is you show that you're scared to get hurt.
Yeah.
Because they're bigger than you. They're not going to learn nothing.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much okay. And after that, I kept did my thing.
Well, I'm so happy to have you, just on the show to talk about your stories and stuff. One thing I really want to get into, I definitely want to get into like paranormal stuff. I know some people might not like it. I'm a big fan of it. Yeah. We have some ghost stories I want to get into. I know Masi might have maybe a story or two, but again, I just have to say, Leroy, you might have heard me say it a couple of times, but man, you've been a big inspiration in my life. You could ask my wife, I wouldn't be where I'm at now if I didn't have you in my life in any way. Like I went through a lot. I've trained a lot with you. I took what you learned, you taught me, and I've applied it in my life now with my son. I teach my son. I'm training my son. Man, you've inspired me to be where I'm at, and it's a big thing. So I'm, happy that I've got to meet you at that time, and now we're good friends,
right?
So and I know other people probably feel the same, So I just want to let you know.
I gotta say, being out here, I appreciate it. Everything else, like I said, all my friends, all my students have become my friends. Yeah. And you guys inspired me a lot. You doing all this, man. Wow, it's crazy. But
yeah,
that's great. You're going forward.
Yeah.
And I hear you, and stuff like that. And inspiring words come out. and everybody does that, and everybody brings out, something good in everybody.
Right.
I don't talk that much to Calvin and to Courtney, but they're they're a big inspiration. You know what I mean? Because the way that they talk to me, it's never a put down. It's never anything better. It's always, hey man,
Yeah.
we got your back,
Hell yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
And you guys do the same thing. You know what I mean? And it's like, they're like I said, I don't see you guys that much, but when I see you guys, you guys are 100 with me all the time. That's the thing that I love about you guys. You guys are a big influence to me too. It's not just coaches, right? It's coach and student together. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And and my family, like I said, I love them all big time. And they inspire me a lot. My grandkids, I live for my grandkids.
Oh yeah, I know
I
you.
live for my grandkids. And like I said, I don't see them all the time, but when I do, they're big influence.
Big inspiration.
Yeah.
Let's get into this then. So, you got into professional fighting at what age?
I think like 15, 16 years old.
Okay. So that, I know that probably everybody wants to see you fight. I mean, that was big. I remember when you started, everybody was hype. I know having to introduce that to the family, because they're like, well, you're training already. Now you're fighting. Who was your first fight on that? When I remember,
when I came back from retirement, it was a coach's challenge.
Yes.
On Ron DeLeon's show.
Yep.
Shout out to Ron. Thank you very much.
Was that for the belt?
That was for the belt, for
Oh,
the coach's challenge. Yeah. And I went ahead and fought that guy, and Brian Bandy.
That's his name,
Brian Bandy. Brian Bandy, I believe it was, yeah. So I fought him, and I beat him and everything else.
Yeah.
And which is a fight that my wife did not know I was gonna do.
Oh no!
Yeah, I just did it. I talked to Ron, and Ron's like, yeah, and so my wife seen it. My wife found out through Facebook. So.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Believe me, she's like, what do you want to say? You already signed it.
You already fucking got everything going.
So I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Damn.
But she still supported me. She,
Yeah.
She was I meant to tell her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I remember that because you went to town. I mean, you were training with everybody. I mean, shit. There was even a time where we worked together in the pool. We did some things over there. You worked your ass off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had your other fight with that was with Jose, right? That was your second one.
That was my third fight.
Third fight. So
Yeah.
who was your second fight?
What's his name? I these names. Tom something. I don't know exactly his name.
Got you.
The guy was he's they told me he was a coach or something like that.
Right.
Also, so that's when I made my pro debut.
Gotcha.
And that was at Petey's. Yeah.
So when you get into preparation, your mindset, like you do a lot. One, you're a father, you're a grandfather, you're also coaching people. You got to prep yourself for a fight, but you also have all these other things going on. How'd you keep yourself composed and not lose it and get sidetracked?
It's trying to put it all together. It's hard. It's not easy at all whatsoever. Because I gotta go to work. I got a family comes first. So my work comes first, making sure that the family has what they need. Spending time with the grandkids, coaching, like you said, it's fit that in there at the same time I'm working out.
And so everybody understands, like your hours too, where I think before they were like dead shift, right? Or
I was working midnights.
Yeah. Oh, I remember your hours. I'm like, he's barely getting. Yeah, did you get full 8 hours of sleep?
No.
Oh,
That's
my
overrated.
God,
No,
Jeez.
I was, I would take like maybe 3 hours worth of sleep
Dude,
and then go to work.
I remember when you told me that, and I'm thinking, what the fuck?
Yeah, I did that for 15 years.
Man, bro. How'd you not pull a muscle? How'd you not?
Yeah, I just did it.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Family got to eat, so I
Yeah,
got to do what I got to do, and that's the thing that my dad always said. Hey, you know what? You can't stop working.
Yeah.
Without you, you know? Not that my wife can't do it. You know what I mean? Because she
Yeah.
can, but I just, I try to be an example to my kids. If I can do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? If I can keep going, you can keep going. You know?
So preparation, I mean,
Yeah.
you get to it, you start working out, but then you're also, did you include your training with your guys, or did you have to do it separately?
Well, I put it in there with the guys as well.
Gotcha. So
You
they
know.
all got to work with you.
Yeah, because to me, I'm gonna have some people train me from outside. They come in or whatever. But
Shit, didn't
my coaches are the people that I teach.
Yeah.
Because who else is gonna give me what I want, except for the people that I train hard?
They like payback too.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell
and
yeah.
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Is they're like, oh, okay, remember this? You know what I mean? You know?
Yeah.
So they would do that to me. Courtney would just like,
Yeah, that's what I'm
you
saying.
put me down and squeeze, and Calvin would be in there too, and then Jack will be kicking me hard, and Mitch will be throwing me down. And
Didn't Jack go to school, or didn't he do something for, not coaching, but for like health or something? He didn't go to school for that.
honestly,
I swear I thought he did. Maybe health, or can't remember. Because he's pretty damn educated.
Oh yeah, very.
Like, the dude's smart.
Yeah, very smart. So yeah, when I seen him a few years back, he was big.
Dude, he got
Wow.
big.
This
Yeah,
guy was big.
it's a heavyweight.
And then we were gonna fight, and he went all the way from being buff. He was still buff, but
It's
he
a
slimmed down. You know what I mean? All the way down to the fighting weight he wanted to be at.
what is his fighting weight?
I think it was 145.
145.
Yeah.
How the fuck did he get down to
He just
145, bro?
He did it. He knows how to nutrition and everything else.
Yeah, Jack's always been disciplined.
Yeah.
I think out of a lot of your fighters, Jack, I do remember Jack was one of your go-to guys. Like, he was always committed, always there, always on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Shout out to Jack Ho, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, he'll text me here and there. Hey, what are you doing? Not that I'm at work. Or you're lucky, because I was gonna come over and slam you. But he'll hit me some other time. Hey, what are you doing? I'm at home. Well, I'm coming over right now. You better not run, because I'm coming to slam you. And I'll be like, okay.
Damn.
I said, I'm waiting for you. And they're like, well, you're lucky. I didn't know everything else. Okay.
So, and Courtney was helping you out too, right?
Yeah.
For your last fight, right? Not the last fight, but for most of your fights, right? Or no?
Yeah, most of the guys do
Most of
help me out. Yeah.
As he called me the other day. I got to call him back, but we were talking, and now that I don't have the gym, man, it's been making it hard for me, you know. And then I'm busy summers. My summers are my busy days, so like it's hours been difficult. Well, I do know, and I don't want to get too much into it because I did have Jose on the show, and we had a discussion. Jose has respect for you, and he did talk good things
Jose's
about
a
you.
good guy.
Yeah. But y'all did have a fight together.
Right.
Yeah. And I remember Jose saying that you were easy. And I'm just talking shit. Just talking shit.
I know you're talking shit.
Oh shit. No. But Jose did say that.
Oh, before we get into that, what do you call that to cut you off? But shout out to Coach Harris. Coach Harris is a very inspirational guy.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
This guy's got some knowledge. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and he helped me out for my training. He's my go-to guy as well. But when I train, he always laughs at me all the time because I said, "Well," I tell him, "This is my last fight," and he starts laughing. He goes like, "Yeah, I sure you are." You know?
Is he still fighting?
No.
I mean, he's a tough guy though. I mean, he was doing his push-ups the push-up challenge. What was that? How much was he doing today?
Oh, shoot, I don't even remember, but I know it was a lot.
It was a lot. And then and he's like, I was watching the
Maybe
video.
I think it was like
500 or
something, 300, something like that.
it's something like that. I
He'll
just,
let me know though.
I'll look at his videos and I see him jumping up, doing these kicks. I'm like, yo, he still got it, dude.
Yeah.
God, I hate to be the one breaking in his house.
Right.
You
No
know?
way.
Shit, shout out though.
Yeah.
I would like to. I have to talk to him because I know we've not worked. At least I haven't worked with him 100%. You know, but you introduced me to him, and I've seen him, and I've seen that one guy that he had, the taller guy that Robert works with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's a nice guy.
Brandon.
Yeah, was it Brandon?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
Brandon.
Also a nice guy as well.
Real nice dude. Hell yeah. And yeah, Harris is a good person. I like him. I like his attitude too.
Right. Yeah.
You know. So, did he help you for any of your fights?
Yeah. He. Yeah. Pretty much helped me out with with my fights.
Gotcha.
He's my go-to guy and stuff like that as well. When he has time, he'll show me. For the most part, he takes the time and be like, "Okay,
Yeah.
just let me know when you're ready."
So when you got into your last fight, you know, I know I don't want to keep on digging and poking.
No, it's okay.
Poking the bear and shit. But I think for the audience, at least knowing how you felt and like how you like to look at things, I guess. You know, it's never a tough decision. It's never tough. It's never easy. Let's just fix that. It's never easy knowing that you worked really hard and little things can get in the way and then you don't win or whatever, you know. So how'd that go for you?
Well, the training and everything was good, stuff like that. First, I wanted to. How it came about, me and him fighting was, the guy that I wanted to fight, Pete had asked me, "Hey, you know, got this guy," and I told Pete from the beginning, I don't believe in fighting guys. I'm a coach. You know what I'm saying? What kind of example would I be fighting somebody new? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna fight somebody, I want somebody that been fighting.
Yeah.
And that has a good record, not just anybody. I don't fight these guys
just randomly.
that's 0-6. You know what I mean? That's a waste of time to me. You know what I mean? Why? Because and I'm not putting that person down, but what do you call it? It's just that I always look for a challenge. You know what I mean? That's the thing. You know, I want somebody that's been fighting and has a good record. You know, that's what I want. And like I said, I'm not putting anybody down. That's not what I'm doing. But just I always look for a big challenge, and to me that was challenging. And the guy that was supposed to fight, he couldn't make up his mind if he wanted to fight me or not because I beat the guy that was bigger than him. You know what I mean? So he skipped out. Whatever. So he goes, "Well, there's no one else I can get." He goes, "You want to fight Jose?" And I go, "Sure, why not? You know, if it's okay with Jose, it's fine with me." So then that came about, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna have to fight one of we're friends. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I said, well, we're gonna fight, whatever. So then, with all that being said, we get ready, and then I'm in the back, and everything was just not the way it's supposed to be that day. So I don't care, whatever.
Yeah.
So no excuses at all whatsoever. Jose's a great fighter. Yeah, and I give it to him. You know what I'm saying? He did what he was supposed to do, and let's get that done.
Yep.
No matter what. Yep. It's not. Excuse me. It's not his fault the way I feel. It's not his fault for nothing. He goes out there.
He only has one job.
Yeah, that's his job, is to win, and he did. Cool. Well, went in there. Jack is like, "You all right?" Because Jack is in the back with me and stuff. And I say, "Yeah, I'm good." And it was one of those things that it's not the guy that I wanted to fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was fighting anyways. So I was just like, but no excuses, like I said, what I feel is what I feel. But it was one of those things of, damn, just, I have to fight one of my friends.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they just like, whatever. Went in there, got ready. Jack is like, "Are you sure you're all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm good." And Went in there. He came in with the overhand left. I believe it was the overhand left.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. He kicked. I caught the kick, but I still went back. You know what I mean? It is what it is. He came in, of course, you know, we're gonna throw hands, but I thought we were gonna throw hands. Instead, we ended up going to the back of the cage, and I just, I don't know. One of my sisters pointed out it was funny because as he's got me up against the cage, and I'm just like, okay. I wasn't into the fight, but I was into the fight.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. Obviously
But,
fighting, but
yeah, because I'm fighting.
yeah,
But it was, we're just going at it. And right now, to me, I'm just thinking,
like it's almost like you were motivated, maybe.
I was motivated, but not really at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like I said, I'm not saying, this is not an excuse. This is me feeling that. Okay, and I just didn't. To be honest, I just didn't feel it. Not at all. When I got inside the cage, I just didn't feel it at all whatsoever. And we went back. I remember going back, and they got me in the guillotine. That was it.
Damn.
And I tapped. That's it.
Damn. It was a tight guillotine.
It was, yeah. It was a tight one. Yeah.
Damn.
And I just tapped out. Because I always tell everybody, you know what, if it's in there tight, why, try to get out if you can, but you also know when it's tight. Don't try to be superhero and shit. Try to get out if you can. And I did try, but it was in the tight.
Yeah.
And he got it. Shout out to Jose. Good job. Good for you.
Now, the question is, now you probably don't want to answer this, but you could. Would you like to see a rematch?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
All that stuff, whatever,
Yeah.
And there's no offense to Jose whatsoever.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he gives me a rematch, great.
Yeah.
If he don't, great.
Right.
It's one of those things that you want to fight, you don't have to take the fight.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's all up to him. I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm 60 years old. I don't got nothing to prove. He's got nothing to prove. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I do have in mind somebody I do want to fight, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Is it potential?
Or
not? No,
we'll
no.
See.
Yeah, okay.
We'll see.
That'd be nice. Maybe we can get you on for a part 2. We could talk about that.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, my wife don't want me to fight no more.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that it's in my gut that I have to fight because I didn't like.
Yeah, someone gotta break your shit, break your shoulder, break your kneecap, just to get you to stop fighting and shit.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You're not old until you want to be, and a lot of people are like, pretty much, well, yeah, man, you're 60. I'm in great shape.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah. I gained some weight because I.
What weight? How much you weigh?
Right now, I'm like 174.
You drop what? You gotta drop 10 pounds. What?
Yeah, I go all the way to 15.
15 pounds already. Yeah.
So yeah.
You do that shit so quick, it's not even funny. I'm like,
yeah, I'll fluctuate pretty much with my weight right now.
Yeah.
Because of my new job. Because I quit Myers.
Yeah.
The
warehouse.
Yeah, the warehouse. After being there for 15 years.
And that job, you were moving. You did a lot of stuff there. I remember.
Yeah, and I take what I did over there. I do this over here at the new job, and just work. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just,
I'm
not done fighting. In my soul, I'm not done fighting. Right. So.
Did that loss affect you in any way where you're like, damn, I could have done this, I could have done that?
Honestly, no.
No.
I'm more disappointed in the part that I had to fight my own friend because this guy didn't want to fight.
Yes,
because he had, you know what I mean? Because this guy was talking so much stuff, pretty much saying that I didn't want to fight him, and it's like, dude, whatever, man, But that's the only thing, because when you fight your own friend, sometimes you don't become friends no more.
You know, see,
But Jose's different.
Jose is different.
You know,
yeah,
and I like Jose.
And
You know,
when we had our last episode, he said the same thing. He's like, fighting, you get into it, but you can't hold grudges. Like,
right?
He's resilient. Like he's not the type of guy where he's like, well, fuck that guy. I beat his ass.
Well, after the fight, we had talked during the weigh-ins, and we had said, hey, you know what? Hey, just get it in, whatever. And it's like, all right, cool. Let's do that. I said, but afterwards, we get shot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he did.
Nice,
shot.
Nice.
We did that. I have no grudges against Jose whatsoever.
Nice.
It's a sport, and that's what I take it as. You know.
Well, I'm not gonna end it here.
No, we're not done.
Because I want to hear some. First, I want to get into the Cedar gym. I want to tell you some ghost stories. I remember. Now I'm gonna tell you my.
He wasn't in the gym at the time, was it?
No. He wasn't there, because when it had happened, I remember. I think he might have been there earlier in the day, but then he left. Then I forgot what happened. I just remember you were like, let's just clean up. I was helping you mop up. You were doing something in the office.
Yeah.
And I remember walking in, and I don't know what the hell we were talking about. Well, before I get to that point, remember when you used to make us, like, right in the back where the meat market's at, there's like I guess like a door, and then we used to do pull-ups?
Yeah.
So there's like an access point to the attic. You remember that?
Not the attic part.
Isn't it? I swear there's like
there in the hallway.
There's like an opening spot where you can see up in their ceiling or roof or some shit. I swear there's like a little spot over there. We were doing pull-ups, and I remember as you pull up, you can see above.
Okay. Oh yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah.
So like you can see above. I remember one time when we were doing pull-up, I swear I thought I seen somebody up there, and I'm like, I'm tripping. Like it can't be. I don't know if I ever told you. Then I was tripping. Like, nah, I can't be. This fucking place can't have a ghost in here. Whatever. And then I think that week, maybe 3 days, I stayed with you to do cleaning. We stayed out there. We were mopping. We go back in the room. We were talking about bullshit, nothing, just gym stuff.
Yeah.
And then we hear a smack, right? Nothing hard.
Right.
I think at first we seen the bag moving.
Well, yeah, because we were talking, and I just happened to look just on the side, and
I swear I heard a snap though.
The bag was moving, and I looked over there and I go, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah.
And at the time I had hair, so my hairs were like, choop.
Yeah.
That's like, man,
well, okay, so and then we stopped it.
Yeah, we stopped.
We stopped it, like had it still, and we waited, and then it started moving again. But I swear I heard a sound.
Yeah, but the other one started moving.
Was it the other one?
It was the other one, because we were here with this one. Like, okay, we made sure the doors were closed.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, the doors are closed and everything else.
Yep.
Then the other one started moving, and we're like, oh, what the hell?
Didn't you say the basement was like creepy?
Oh yeah, the basement, man. Yeah, because you go downstairs, and everything was dark, and there's nothing but rooms. Okay, nothing but rooms. So when you go down there, it's like, oh man, just looking, and it's like you just. I think we pretty much scared ourselves.
Yeah,
we're going there, and that little thing is like, "Whoa, watch out!"
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
I've never been down there. I've only gone down the stairs and stopped.
Man.
Like,
it's just scary down
there. That was.
I can't believe I actually went down there.
Who all went? I remember you, Jack.
It was me, Jack. I think Ray.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might have been Ray, but there wasn't a whole lot of us.
Yeah.
But we went there, like, oh, that's ain't going on again.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Wait, so how many rooms are down there?
I think it was like maybe 6. It was like one.
What the?
It was a big room.
So they could have turned it into like
bigger one.
Sauna room. You could have made one of those rooms a sauna room.
Well, that was the whole plan.
Oh,
was to go down there and make another gym.
That would have been badass, bro.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, but that place got
all that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. I get it. So I remember last time we talked, you had some personal encounters. This was at your mom's house.
Yeah, well, when we were younger, okay, now we live on Ballard Street. My mom owns the house next to me, and she owns her house.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we used to live in the middle house, right? So when we were younger, we got into the Ouija board thing.
Oh hell no.
Me and my brothers. So it's like me and my brother John and my brother Victor. So we're like, okay, we across from that is the bathroom. Okay, you got a little hallway, then you got another room here, another room. But we're the ones right across from that. We had bunk beds. We were younger. So then it's like, okay, my brother took out the Ouija board. I'm like, hey, what the heck's that? He goes, yeah, you get to talk to people. And I said, oh, yeah.
Wait, how old were you?
Oh, man. I don't remember how old I was. We were
Teenager.
Like teenagers, yeah. Okay. And then we started playing with it. Hey, and the thing would move. And then I'd be like, hey, quit doing that.
It actually moved.
Yeah, it actually moved.
Okay.
So then as we're doing it, then I said, okay, you know what? If you're real, wake us up in the middle of the night.
Oh, hell no.
Turn on the light to the bathroom, and make some noise. So he did all that. Whatever. What color are you? Are you green? Yeah, yes, I'm green. Yeah, whatever. So then we get it, we go to sleep. Next thing you know, boom. Open up my eyes. I'm sleeping on the top bunk. So I'm like, what the heck? I turn over like this. The door's open. Turn over like this. Those lights started turning on and off. I said, whoop! I closed that door, man. I started screaming for my mom.
Oh, damn.
I said, Mom, Dad. It's like, I said, no way.
So, who all witnessed that?
Me and my brother John.
Damn.
Yeah. He was like, I told you it's real. I told you. I said, shut up. You're going to make it come in here. Yeah.
Oh, man. And that was the only thing y'all had after that?
Yeah, that was it.
But who was talking about where y'all would hear someone upstairs or something, like y'all would hear, who was it?
Oh, that was me when I went to my mom's.
Yeah.
My mom's house. My mom had said, hey, will you tell the kids to quit running up and down the stairs? And I said, all right, she went to her house, where she lives at right now. And I went over there and I said, okay, and I heard boom, 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 going up the stairs. I was like, you guys quit running. You hear me? And I'm yelling up the stairs. My mom said, hey, tell them quit running already. I said, all right, quit running. I said, you guys hear me? And all I hear is running around in the room. So I go upstairs to the room. She got a room straight up there like that. And there's a attic room. And then there's the other room. So I heard from this side. So I get up, go over there. And I'm looking around. I'm like, probably hiding underneath the bed. Hey, get out of there. Okay. Nothing. I look in the back of the door. Nobody there. Open up the closet. Nobody there. Shoo, close the door. And I took off. My mom's like, where you going? I said, ain't nobody upstairs.
So did your mom always hear that? Or does she still hear it?
I think she hears things, but she just don't tell us.
Oh, she just kind of blows it off.
She just like, it ain't bothering me. I ain't going to bother it. That kind of thing. So, but it bothered me because I sure as hell ran. I wasn't going to stick around. So my mom's like, hey, I got the key to get into my mom's house. And she's like, can you go in there and make sure, like, what time are you coming back?
Even at this age.
Yeah. I don't care, man. It's like, I ain't getting in there.
You have anything happen in your house?
In my house? Yeah, I hear some things here and there, but it's hard to tell sometimes because, the dogs are running back and forth.
Gotcha.
But it's like, okay.
So how did you get the Ouija board?
Well, at the time we had our other friends that, we went to church.
Oh man.
So then, we're young.
Yeah.
So there's like our friends have Ouija boards. So they would play it and everything else. So we're like, let us try it. So that's using.
No wonder our north side's fucked up. We got all these damn ghosts.
All the Ballard.
They got all these damn ghosts and demonic shit
right
there because fucking Ouija boards and shit.
Mm-hmm. I know when my grandson comes over and tells me some of his stuff, I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
I see. I want to hear some of your stories, Masi. You can get it. You don't have to get it in depth. But just talk about some basic stuff that had happened to you. And
I'm not really sure. There's a couple of things that have like happened around his home and all that. Like, of course, you're always gonna hear people walking around talking. Like when I was younger, and they would leave me alone, I would hear people talking upstairs. Just like you could have, my mother could tell you too. She used to have the same stuff.
yeah,
My grandparents' house, my great grandparents' house. I was very afraid of the basement. The basement is all steep, right? And you had the right and the left, and it like go back really deep.
Mm-hmm.
The scariest thing ever. Like you could just, it was just very bad feeling.
Yeah.
It was always a very bad feeling down there. So I was, yeah, they like, it feels like somebody's calling you,
Bam.
and it's like it's eerie. It's very bad.
You said your grandma's house, right?
Yeah, my grandparents' house.
Yeah, they still your grandpa.
Yeah.
Fucking calling the devil.
Yeah, I do blame myself for that, for real. I was like, damn. But my nephew, he owns the house next door now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
man.
yeah.
But yeah, how did it affect you in any way?
It showed what things can really do. It opened my eyes to some stuff. I mean, I know spirits can take over things like cameras and all types of stuff. I have some stories about that. Like, we had this security camera at the time, and it was we had these sliding doors. It was glass.
Yeah.
The security camera was at the bottom of it, and at this time we were going through a bunch of different things with spirits, and I was like, I've always had to go through stuff with spirits. They've just always somehow got to me. And where we were living at the time, there was a cemetery at pretty close.
Oh yeah.
And one time we left, and this camera was just either it was off completely, or it was just showing nothing. It was blank. This one time where nobody's there, we were gone for a couple hours, and the camera started moving. This camera like stayed still. It wasn't the cameras that moved back and forth.
Oh, can you control it with the controller?
Nah, you couldn't do nothing. It was just like a regular camera.
Damn.
So this camera started moving, and at one point it started moving this way, and it started like following us while we walked around. And the next point, we were gone. We're out the house, and the camera was on the floor, like a couple steps away from where it originally was, and it wasn't like wind couldn't blow it or nothing.
Yeah.
It was always something crazy like that. My grandfather he was pretty scared to go in that house after that. So yeah.
I'm the toughest scared guy there is.
Damn.
Yeah.
Isn't that didn't you have like an episode with like shadows and stuff?
Yeah, all the time. I'm not sure where. I mean, yeah, you would have to.
Yeah, because you were younger.
Yeah, even when I was younger, I was playing with spirits.
Yep. You used to play with spirits? I used to walk in and he's talking to spirits.
When my dad passed away, we were at the house, and then he was waving at the window.
No way.
He was waving.
You don't
at the
remember
window.
this?
I remember some things. Mainly, I had my god sister.
Yeah.
She passed away, and this is before I was born. Okay, and I used to play with her a lot, like as a spirit, and I scared my uncles because I was at the house with my uncles and I was really young, and I would play with her, and I would think it's my cousin Lishana, and it wasn't. I saw her clear. I saw her perfect, but yeah, stuff like that.
Sounds like you're gifted, bro. That's what it sounds like. I mean, this is
Sounds to me
real.
like he's gonna have to stay with his mom.